Most manufacturers are using AI to create ads completely wrong. They'll fire up an AI tool, create 50 images in an afternoon, dump them into an ads manager, and then wonder why nothing's converting. And look, I get it. These AI tools make it seem stupid easy to create a winning ad, but creating ads and creating ads that book calls are two completely different things. Creating volume is easy right now, but the right strategy behind it is what matters. Hi, I'm Dennis Lagares. I'm the founder of Haywire Marketing. We've helped branded manufacturers doing anywhere between 2 to 12 million a year, build ad systems, and generate consistent qualified leads every single month. And what I can tell you for doing this for dozens of manufacturers is that the ones that are winning right now are not using AI as a standalone creative strategy. They're using it as an accelerant on top of a strategy that already works. So in this video, I'm breaking down the exact 7-part framework behind every AI ad of ours that's actually converting right now. And even if one part of that framework is missing, it doesn't matter how many creatives AI generates you. Your ads still won't convert. And I just won't explain it, I'll show you. Real ads from real manufacturing clients that have generated qualified leads and delivered up to 5x return on ad spend. So you can actually see how this works in practice. Let's get into the framework. So your first job in any ad isn't to get someone to believe in you, but it's to get someone to agree with you. So when you write your hook, you want to open up with something that your buyer already knows that is true in their current situation, something that they actually lived through. If your first line describes their reality accurately, they're nodding way before they realize it. And that nod is what's going to get them to continue watching, because you're lowering their guard before you've asked them to believe anything about your business. If instead you opened up with a credential, you're acting a skeptical buyer to trust you before you even earned it. Your hook should work like a mirror that show them their own situation, not a business card that's going to be showing them yours. For example, watch this ad for a label manufacturer.
My name's Grizzly. I run a high-volume hot sauce brand out of the Pacific Northwest. At our peak, we were moving 240,000 units a month. Product was dialed, demand was there, retailers were calling us. The only thing standing between me and a monster quarter was labels. I placed the order. The deadline was 3 weeks out, week 1, nothing. I emailed, no reply. I called, voicemail. I sent a follow-up, got back an automated response that said, "Your request is being processed." Processed.
Look how this ad opens up establishing exactly who he is and already what he has built, doing 240,000 units a month, stating that the demand is there, then immediately drops into the one thing that's standing in his way, labels. From there, he walks through the actual nightmare his customers are going through. There's no "we're a leading label supplier" anywhere in it. It's just exactly what a high volume brand is currently living through. Stated plainly, this is why this ad got watched all the way through instead of being scrolled past the first 2 seconds of someone watching it. A strong hook is what's going to get you into the door. What happens next determines if they're going to continue listening. Most of your buyers most likely have already been burned before. A bad supplier, a vendor that dropped the ball, a hire that didn't work out. So when they see your ad, part of them is already braced for somehow you implying that it's already their fault. This is why you want to validate them first. Tell them they didn't do anything wrong. Then blame the actual problem, the old process, the outdated system, the previous vendor. When you're choosing the system as the villain instead of the buyer, you're giving them someone to stand next to rather than something they need to defend against. If you end up blaming your buyer, even subtly, they'll start arguing with your ad in their head. But if you blame the system that they're already frustrated with, you become that one person that actually gets it. For example, notice how the company Workplace Modular Systems highlighted it in this ad.
A workstation quote shouldn't take 3 weeks to land in your inbox. Most do because they run on a relay. You call your distributor, they call their manufacturer rep. The rep passes a piece of it to engineering, and across every handoff, detail gets lost. So you follow up, and follow up again.
They never tell their buyer that they're wrong because they've trusted their old distributor. They name the actual problem, the relayed system itself. You call the distributor, they call their manufacturing rep, the rep passes a piece to engineering, and details get lost at every handoff. The buyer didn't cause that, the system failed him.
That's a real nice word for nobody knows where your order is. Week 2, I finally got a human on the phone. They told me the labels were in production. I asked for a ship date. They said they'd check and get back to me. My production line was sitting idle. My fulfillment team had nothing to pack, and my retailer, who I'd spent 2 years building a relationship with, was now calling me, asking me where their shipment was.
That hot sauce ad did something even more bluntly. The brand owner gets a vague processing update. Then labels show up 4 days late. Wrong finish, wrong color, half the batch is miscut. At no point does the ad suggest he should have caught the problem earlier or chosen differently. Once again, the system failed him. That's the entire frame. That's exactly the move you want. Neither ad has a buyer feeling that they messed up. Both name the old system as the actual villain, which is exactly why the viewer continues to watch instead of becoming defensive. Now, since you have lowered their guard, let's talk about who you should actually be speaking to. When you qualify the audience in your ad itself, you're technically doing two things. The right buyer feels like you're talking to them directly. The wrong buyer will essentially move on before your sales team has to ever deal with them. But where you put this matters a lot. If you qualify too early before your hook actually earns attention, you end up closing the door on someone who hadn't even decided to walk through it yet. You want to wait until the buyer is actually leaning in, and only then name exactly who this is for. Coming back to that manufacturing hot sauce ad again, watch this carefully.
Headline says, if your label supplier has ever gone quiet on you mid-production, this is for you. I didn't just relate to that, I lived that. 3 times I clicked.
By the time the line, if your label supplier has gone quiet on you mid-production, this is for you, shows up, the viewer already lived through the entire story with them. That qualifying line lands after a minute of build-up, not before, so it reads as a recognition, not as a filter. Now, it's worth flagging the opposite case. Now watch this ad from Brand Label.
You're running multiple SKUs, 50,000 plus labels a month, shipping to regional or national retail. Your supplier was great when you were smaller.
This ad actually opens up naming the buyer profile in the first line. You're running multiple SKUs, 50,000 plus labels a month, shipping to regional or national retail, before the storyline builds curiosity. It works here because the same line has doubled as a hook itself. The buyer has lived the frustration of outgrowing their current supplier, but that's the expectation, not the rule. If your qualifier and your hook aren't the same line, qualify later. Now, by this time, you have the right buyer paying attention. But now the question is, what do you actually say to earn their trust? Your buyers are sophisticated, and they have heard our proven system from every single competitor that you have. That phrase doesn't tell them anything, so it doesn't earn you anything as well. When you name your actual process, the specific sequence of how you do what you do, you prove that you built something real instead of just promising it. Your buyer might not be able to tell something good from something bad, but they could always tell when someone is describing real components versus just talking in generalities. Specifics is what earns you trust here. Watch this ad from WMS carefully.
Most workstation vendors bury their warranty terms in the fine print. We publish ours in plain language. What's covered, for how long, and what isn't. The steel we weld in our New Hampshire factory, structural frames, casework, and powder coat finish, is warranted for the lifetime of the product under original ownership. The direct drive lift motor and electronic controls carry 5 years. Work surfaces, ESD laminate, and electrical components, 5 years. That holds because we engineer, manufacture, and stand behind every unit in-house.
It never makes any warranty claims in the air. It names the actual term. Structural frames, casework, and powder-coated finishes are warranted for the lifetime of the product under the original owner. The lift motor and electronics controls carry a 5-year warranty. Work services and electronical components carry a 5-year warranty. Then they say that's possible because they engineer, manufacture, and stand behind every unit in-house. They never said they had a better process. They said exactly what the process was. That one shift, what makes an ad sounds like proof instead of marketing. Now here's where most manufacturers go wrong. They explain their process, but they never prove it actually worked. Good proof takes the risk off of your buyer's shoulders. When you show them a real specific result, they can actually picture that same result happening in their own business. The catch is that your best buyers will scrutinize whatever you show them, so it has to hold up. One verified specific case study will always be an impressive sounding number. you can't back up. If a claim ever feels inflated to your buyer, it makes them question everything else you said in the ad too. For example, look how brand label highlighted the specific proof in this ad.
A major food distributor was losing contracts because their previous suppliers' 8-week lead times couldn't keep pace with retailer demands. We cut their turnaround to 2 weeks, 0 quality issues across 2 million units. They've been with us for 3 years. Countryside, a beverage startup, needed 5,000 labels with 10 days notice for a retail opportunity. We delivered it in 4 days.
It doesn't say we've worked with thousands of brands. It names one real client, a major food distributor losing contracts because their previous supplier 8-week lead time couldn't keep up with the pace, and states the specific fix. Turnaround cut to 2 weeks, 0 quality issues across 2 million units, 3 years retained. Then it names a second one, a beverage startup that needed 5,000 labels with a 10-day notice, delivered in 4 days, now in 200 stores. One real result, specifically with real numbers attached to it. That's the kind of claim a skeptical buyer can't argue with. Now, at this point, your buyer understands the problem, the solution, and the proof. The next step is to give a buyer a reason not to push off the decision. Scarcity only raises the cost of waiting when your buyer already wants the thing. If you put it right out in the open before desire even exists, it feels like pressure from a total stranger, and it's an instant turnoff for sophisticated buyers. But if you move the same line in the middle of your ad after you already proven your mechanism and shown a real result, it lands completely different even though you didn't change the words. The only thing that's different is just what came before it. How you frame it matters just as much as where you place it. Saying something like, "This is how many clients we take on," reads as a fact about how your business operates, while saying "act now" reads as a tactical aim straight to the person that's watching. You want the first one, not the second. Look how brand labels ad highlights scarcity.
Instead of 2005, the only catch? We're honest about our capacity. When we say 10 days, we mean it.
This line, the only catch, we're honest about our capacity. When we say 10 days, we mean it. When we can't hit your deadline, we'll tell you up front. It doesn't show up until after they name 2 case studies and the full mechanism. By the time it lands, it reads as a fact on how the business operates, not as a tactical aim at the viewer. Now, let's talk about the part most people overcomplicate unnecessarily, the CTA, the call to action. By this point in the ad, structure has already did the persuading for you. The only job left for your CTA is to make the next step obvious and easy. Not to add another layer of pressure. A clean, simple instructions respects your buyer's intelligence and matches the tone of everything that came before it. If you stack urgency on top of it at the finish line, you undercut all the trust you just built up, and you become exactly the thing this skeptical buyer was braced against from the start.
Send your spec below. The clock starts when you hit submit.
Click the link, reach out to them, tell them Grizzly sent you.
The workstation ad ends with "send your specs below," and the clock starts when you click submit. The hot sauce ad ends, click the link below, reach out to them, tell them Grizzly sent you. No countdown, no fake deadline, just the door left open. That's the entire CTA in every one of these. The ad has already done the convincing. The CTA just closes it cleanly. Now, if you zoom out for a second, you'll notice there's a specific sequence to all of this. You earn agreement with your hook, you take the blame off of your buyer and place it on the system. You qualified late once curiosity already paid for itself. You name your mechanism specifically. You back it with one result that no one can argue with. You frame your scarcity as capacity once desire already exists. And then you close it clean. AI doesn't replace any of this. It's just executed faster once the structure already exists. Run any AI tool through these 7 steps and you'll end up with ads built on something that's proven instead of ads that you're just throwing the dark. Now from here, you got 2 paths you can take. First, if you want me to go one level deeper and show you how exactly to make these AI ads, walking you through all the prompts, the generation process, and get these ready to launch, comment tutorial below and I'll make it the next video. Or if you'd rather skip the DIY route entirely and have the whole system built and ran and run for you, the strategy, the creative, the AI execution, all of it, click the link below and book a free call with our team and I'll see you there.